Hi, this is Maria from ArdorHealing. I am talking to Fernanda. She's calling in from Arizona. Hi, Fernanda.
Hello.
So I wanted to have someone in the not so woo-woo field a part of this show. But I want to, what do you, I want, I guess I want to ask you what you do. What is it that you do exactly?
I am a clinical mental health therapist. So I do mental health therapy with children, families, and adults. I primarily work with children and adults on the spectrum or with some kind of developmental disability or delay. But I've been branching out and working with some adults also, which has been a big learning curve for me.
Is it more difficult for you to work with adults than with special needs children?
I want to say, I'm going to say no, because I've accepted it as a learning, as a teaching moment for not just myself, but for them. It's definitely a different skill set,
Mhm.
but early in my career, I was very against working with adults. And now we are about almost 8 years in, and it's exciting and I like the challenge. But I'm also pulling in some of the woo-woo, like you said, and it's very humbling and balancing of like my needs, and I think of my members' needs.
Pretty awesome. So
Yes.
when you say you're incorporating some of the woo-woo, you're incorporating some of the spiritual wisdom that you've have what's the word I'm trying to come up with? You've been learning a lot of spiritual techniques or tools that is going that it's helping you in your everyday workday.
Yes, big time. And I pull on some of my experience, and I talk about my shadow work sometimes, or at least like the process. I don't, not, we're always very balanced in how much we share. So if it's appropriate, I share, but it's more motivations or to show that we're all on a journey.
Right.
And so, everybody's at a different place, and it's important to know that there are like-minded or sympathetic people that are in that same route, so you're not alone. And I think that's always been one of my philosophies, is to not allow people to feel alone.
Right. Yeah, that's a big one. Is that what most people that you are helping is that their biggest, I wouldn't say issue. That's
Right.
that word is yeah.
Concern.
Concern. There you
Concern
go.
or thought
Sure.
process.
Is that what's happening nowadays in the world is people are feeling alone?
Yes. um and even pre-COVID, right? Because we live now in a world of COVID, but even pre-COVID, people feel so alone, and it hurts, and I know I myself have felt alone, and that's not a place that you ever want to feel that you are, because then the world closes up, and it's, that's the dark side trying to hold you down and not let you
Right.
come out,
See the truth. Yeah.
see the truth.
Isn't
Yeah.
that interesting? Yeah. We're surrounded by a ton of people every day. We could go out to work and by people and go to a restaurant and have dinner and be surrounded by people, go to the gym and be surrounded by people, and yet the biggest feeling is alone.
Alone, right?
Alone. That's so crazy. So, how could you help someone that is feeling alone? How would you approach that person?
One of the biggest things I feel is like holding space. And what I mean by that is really being present, you know, um, no judgment. As as much as everybody loves to say no judgment, but really just holding that space, commiserating, being in that moment and knowing that you can offer safety. I think that's the biggest thing. But then also teaching connection, and it goes beyond connection with others, but connection with like all of yourself.
Yeah.
So
I like, think, right. Yes. So I guess my question, maybe I need to clarify it a little bit. If you are talking to people that feel alone, what would you recommend for them to do so that they won't feel alone? I know for me, for an example, I York, but I'm currently living in Maryland, and my husband's there, my family's there, and my daughter here with me, but I don't have her full time. So there are moments where I'm just like, geez, it's kind of lonely here.
right.
But to be honest with you, I think that I could put myself out there and be in a situation where I won't feel alone, but I stop myself.
That's usually it's that self-doubt. It's that I'm not good enough. What if people don't like me? What if it's not my vibe? I usually recommend, so being alone, right? But we have the opportunity to rebuild our family and rebuild our community so often. So if like, my family provides this, and this, how can you find or create that where you are? So I feel a sense of fulfillment because I used to go shopping with my mom. I need to find a shopping buddy where I am then.
Right.
I sometimes we're in this technological world, so finding a platform that holds interest, holds similar interests. I know like there's like hangouts and things like that, where then you can also go out now and meet in the community and meet with like-minded people.
Right.
And that's very important. It's that sense of community, but also understanding that they're not going to be 100% what you want, but they're able to fulfill whatever percent that you need. If we're 100 and shopping is 10%, I just need to fill 10%. I don't need to fill 100%.
100. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we have these moments where we want someone to give us what we need 100%.
100.
I want to go out there and I want to find a person and I want it to be magical and I want them to make me happy. I want them to give me company. I want them to just be at my beck and call.
Right. In my case, I want to be adored, so
right.
everybody, and that's not gonna happen.
Right. So I guess when I start mentoring people and spiritually, when I start mentoring people, the question that I would ask is, okay, this is what you want. So how could you give that? How could you love and accept yourself first?
Yes.
Because that's number one, right? You have to
Right.
be able to get into a point where you love and respect and you accept yourself completely. So when you're out in the community, socializing with people, first off, you don't give that desperate vibe.
Right. Right.
Right. Secondly, you know who you are and you know your boundaries and you know who you're going to be able to allow into your circle and who is not appropriate. Because what happens is when you're not, of course, I'm not the psychologist, but I'm a spiritual mentor. When you're not grounded enough in who you are, you get in really shitty situations, uncomfortable situations that it's probably not great for you.
Right.
Right. So,
right.
So what kind of tools would you offer someone that is learning to accept themselves, or yeah, I know. Or learning how to even get to know who they are.
Right. That's so hard. And I mean, you see me responding because I think that that is a life goal. And what I mean by that, not that we can't attain it, but that we're constantly working on it, you know?
Right.
So I think going back to that 100% piece, right? Can you give yourself 100% today, right now? Probably not, but
Mhm.
because you don't know what that 100% is even full of. We have
Right.
these hopes and these dreams and these desires, and then maybe not so much motivation. So what's that 10? Start with the 10%. You know, I think that's, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
It's one bite at a time. So like, what
Right.
makes up the elephant? What makes up the 100% of yourself? You know, I did a little piece of this today. One of my amazing mentor of mine, Dr. Mills, started me on my Jungian and spiritual with clinical path. And I was so
Mhm.
grateful for her. And I ran into somebody who's amazing and on this video right now, and helped me like further remember that. Like that was really
Yeah.
what set me off on this journey. And so it's the wheel of balance. So if you don't know where to start, and we start on the wheel of balance where emotionally, how am I taking care of myself, right?
Right.
Spiritually, how am I taking care of myself?
Mhm.
Physically, how am I taking care of myself?
Yeah.
Did I say physically yet?
You did mentally. That's the last
Mentally.
one.
That's the one.
That's the
You
last
know,
one.
girl. Yes.
Grano.
So, you know, like if you start at like the 4 basic food groups, right? Like we say
Right.
with that, like
Yeah.
that opens up, where am I?
Oh, you got it. You're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yes. So you're there and you start to identify, where have I neglected me? Where are these wishes and these dreams that I have for myself to
Yeah.
be able to pour back in?
Yeah. And I would approach it. This is just me, Maria, not with a psychology degree, but
You're
I would
good.
approach I would approach it um as like when you go to the gym, sometimes one day you do your arms and your back, and then the next day you do your legs,
Yeah.
and then the next day you do core and cardio. And you have to approach that with your 4 basic food groups or body
Yeah.
groups,
You're,
right?
you're,
Uh,
yes, yes.
where it's okay, today I am going to give my body what it needs. So I'm going to try to eat right today, and I'm going to go for a long walk, or I'm going to dance, or I'm going to sing. Even singing, that helps. That is going to bring a lot of energy into your life. This is
Yeah.
just a shamanic way. Um, the next thing I would recommend is for your emotional is, instead of saying I think, say I feel.
Yes.
That's as easy as that all day. Instead of say I think so, say I feel like it's, yeah, I feel like, yeah, or just say I feel. That's it. That's all you need to say
Yes.
to be able to give your emotional body that, oh, she's listening or he's listening, you know?
And giving yourself permission.
Right.
Um, I think that's one of my biggest things, because right now everybody's like, I'm angry. It's like, okay, you're allowed to be angry.
That's
No, I'm
okay
not.
to be angry.
Yes, you
Yeah.
are. Why? Who
Yeah.
told you you can't be angry?
Right.
The emotion has nothing to do, you know, it's the
Right.
action. So then again, what are you going to say? You know what? When I'm angry, I can do this, you know, instead of when I'm angry, I can't go hit somebody. Probably not. That's may not
No.
be the best choice, but what can you do with that,
right,
because it's energy. And so
right.
you can distract and you can do all these wonderful things, but that energy is still inside.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so you're like this, and what are you going to do with it? So what
Right.
have you decided? You know what, Fernanda, when you're angry, you're allowed to go outside and yell. You're
Yeah.
allowed to like grab your pillow and be like, oh, and like smash your pillow. So what is allowed?
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest teachings for emotions is stop saying no and
Right.
stop
To the
saying,
emotion.
yeah, like what
Yeah.
can I do? Like I can cry right now because I'm so mad. That's appropriate. I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do it.
You know, it's so funny how society is like, especially here in America, it's like, that's so inappropriate. That's too much emotion. You need to go and figure your life out. Instead of being like, oh, okay, you need to go out and yell. It's okay, man. Go do your thing, or go and punch a I don't know,
Something
what is it called?
acceptable.
Yeah, something acceptable, or scream or whatever. You know,
Right.
having those little moments or areas, even in companies, it should have something like this where you're
Yes.
frustrated, go out and get some of that energy out of your body because
Yes.
it's not healthy. It's
No,
like, no, I mean, we are taught in society to suppress all emotions,
we
um,
are.
and then just smile.
Just smile, but you
Just
can't be
smile. That's
happy.
the only
Yeah,
thing
but you
that you
can't
can.
be happy while you're
Yeah,
smiling. You just smile to smile so that you're pleasant and approachable.
right,
Not, but so then I have to hide my boundary. Like if I'm mad right now, I still have to smile so that you approach me and then that could trigger me more. That's not fair.
no, that's not fair. It's giving us a moment to process, breathe. I think breath work is great too with
Oh,
emotions.
yes.
Yeah. So, what would you recommend for mental and spiritual?
Oh my gosh. So sometimes they collide, right? So I'm
Yes.
reading for my spiritual, but it's also for my mental, right? So I get to double dip.
Mhm.
Um, but mental, like learn, right? But
Mhm.
it's not like go to school because everybody's like, ugh, school. But
Right.
just learn what you want to learn. Like,
Right.
why is the sky blue? I don't
Right.
know. Go find out. Like if that's the passion, then
Right.
tinker, then it's become a student, but become a student in the way that you want to.
Right. Not do something because I have to get a degree because then I will make a lot of money if I go into this
No,
field, and you're gonna hate
right.
it. Do
Yeah.
something that you like, even if it's, you know, um,
Underwater
cake,
basket weaving.
right, cake decorating. That's so
Do it.
peaceful,
Yes.
artistic. That's like super soothing. Why not? Like, I
Yes.
completely agree with that.
You
So,
know,
what
everybody
has
has a place.
yeah. So what has been the biggest challenge to in being an emotional support, behavioral support person? What do you struggle with the most as an individual?
Boundaries. I I just want to love and try to give some of my light. And so it's difficult, because not everybody's ready or willing to accept it. And so learning where they're at, learning where I'm at, um, but also not allowing my light to be taken without my consent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big piece. And I think it goes for everybody, not just professionals in my realm or in the woo in your realm.
Right.
um it really is finding the boundary to say, yes, I am here
Mm-hmm.
and I want to share my light and I'm willing to take some of your dark because it's too much for you
To
you
handle,
know
yeah.
so sometimes it really is, it's that boundary and it's that self-caring, that self-healing, because we are taking in these energies, positive
Yeah.
and negative, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's bigger than our battery. And
Yeah.
so that's something that I've been trying to teach, is we all have a social battery or just an energy battery. And so what
Right.
does that transference, that give and take look like?
Yeah. For me, I like to, if I'm mentoring someone, I like for them to let go. And even I help with visualization. I say, you know, that bag that you've been holding on to, that heavy, heavy bag that you've been holding on to, put it down. Put it down. Don't think about the bag. Don't think about all the traumas in there. Don't think about the darkness. Don't think about the sadness. I want you to put it down. And you literally, when they visualize that actually happening, they take a deep breath and they're like, they're new people, even
Mhm.
within seconds of it happening,
Yeah.
because it is a mental bag that they're holding on to. It's mental, emotional, all of the bodies. And it's okay for them to put it down.
Yeah. Just for a second.
Right.
Just be
Just
here. Just be now. We're safe. It'll be there when you're ready to pick it up again. And
if you want to pick it up.
if you even want to pick it up,
Just leave it there, man.
right, right.
Yeah. So I have a couple more questions for you, but another question that I have is what's your future look like? Like, what do you want to do in the future? Do you want to continue to stick with um, helping adults and children with special needs, or do you want to move towards something different in the future? I guess what's your goal?
My goal, oh my gosh, there's so many goals.
The short-term goal.
Short-term goal. Short-term goal, I want to continue to work with everybody I'm working with right now. I adore the special needs population that I'm working with, but I'm also myself growing and finding that people need a little logic and a little woo-woo. And the more that I'm able to learn and balance that and provide that safe space, I think it's a blessing. I think that it's something that is going to be needed. So I think short-term, long-term goal, I'm on the path that I'm supposed to be on. And I feel that I'm trying to cast my net a little bit bigger, because
Mhm.
the fear that I've had of adults and working with adults has been my own limitation. I've stopped myself from connecting and reaching these people that are there with me, you know?
Yeah, they need help too.
Yeah,
They need help
and
too.
and it's amazing to find, there's not a lot of people that are able to hold this kind of duality and
Right.
understand, so it's amazing. So I'm casting my net larger, and I'm hoping that people see that my light and are able to identify, like, hey, this might work for me.
Yeah, I resonate with her. So if somebody wanted to contact you or follow you on social media so they could get tips, tricks, and daily motivations, where would they do that?
So I'm building up my social media nest. As of right now, I am on Instagram. I think it's nanda.rodriguez. I need to double check what it is.
Just send me the link and I'll add it to the video
Perfect.
if you're
Yeah.
cool with it. One book that you may recommend that kind of talks a little bit about self-love.
Just one.
Just one, because I think with everything that we talked about, it sounds like a lot of people are lonely. And if they had self-love intact, then they would be able to open up themselves to invite people in. Because in with self-love, you have to self-accept.
Right.
So
Oh, trick question, Maria.
Why is that a trick
Um,
question?
because there's so many wonderful books that can guide you there, but it's also based on where you're at, you know. I think the book that I started with to understand would be, I don't know if I have it in here. It's a book by my mentor, Dr. Joyce Mills, and it's the butterfly. Oh, I can't.
That's
God,
okay. Just forget it. But it's
Dr.
Who?
Joyce Mills.
Dr. Joyce Mills and something about butterfly. What does it talk about? Tell us a little bit about what it talks about.
So it's gonna guide through the wheel of balance that we talked about,
Mhm,
some butterfly wisdom, you know, trans I can't think of it, trans imaginal discs. And
mhm,
so when, you know, the changes that you go through and the growth that you go through, again, because it ties in that spiritual as well as the underlying processing of the logical.
mhm,
That is what started me on this path of identifying both are valid, both are in me, and both are true. And it just happened to be that brought me to the person that brought me even to you. And
mhm,
so I have to honor that my origin of being on this path, I know it started way before that, but
mhm.
bringing it to my forefront and really shoving me into this life, is it's that book, it's those lessons, it's taking a step back, it's pausing where I'm at and realizing that I am safe, I am secure, and
Ooh,
I can move
that's a big
forward.
one.
It is.
That's a big one because a lot of people living from the past, and when they didn't feel safe, when they didn't feel secure, when they had traumas or they struggled. But it's so important to learn to live from the present moment when they look around, I'm fine. Everything's good. I'm
Mhm.
safe. I'm grounded. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. That's definitely wisdom that is needed. What practice would you recommend, like self care practice that you would recommend for someone? Just
Nature.
one. Be in nature,
Be in nature. Reconnect.
even in Arizona.
Oh my God, I can't tell you how much I had this conversation with
116-degree
you.
weather.
I love the 100. So I'm in air conditioning all day, and every 50 minutes I go outside and I take in my sun. I take in my vitamin sun
Mhm,
because, well, I'm a sun sign,
mhm,
and I have to get my energy in those quick minutes there, but also water. That's nature. And what does water do? It cleanses, it
mhm,
heals, it grows.
mhm.
There, there's so many things.
Yeah, water
Um,
is definitely important.
water, you know, um, it's amazing. And so I think that was one of the things too, is whenever something is difficult, drink a little bit of water, splash a little water on your face, something, because it's going to cleanse that moment, that second. One of my favorite techniques that I learned was when you go to the ocean, right, or
Mhm,
you're on that beach path,
mhm.
they said, walk in backwards and dunk yourself, because it's taking away what's behind you,
Yeah,
and you're giving it back to
to
say,
nature.
it's in your hands, and I trust that, I trust in the process, I trust in you, and I trust in myself.
Right, that's number one. trusting in ourselves.
Yes.
Well, perfect. Is there anything else you would like to say or leave here before we leave the room?
Before we leave the room, it's scary, the process of finding yourself. And it's scary, the process of peeling back the layers. And it's scary for everybody. But you find healing and you find yourself at the end of it, loving yourself. So reach out, connect, even if it's somebody that you think might not, you'd be surprised because they're living it too. And to know that, oh, you too, me too, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not alone,
Yeah.
so the first step is difficult, but in the long run it's so worth it. And then it start with a smile.
Yeah.
Just
I
start with a smile.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sometimes we forget that we're not alone. We're
Mhm.
surrounded by a ton of people that would love each and every one of us if
Yes,
we are ourselves and authentic.
yes. one
Yeah.
of the one of the statistics that not scared me, but kind of made me rethink my approach to when I go out in the world, because I am very introverted. I have my extrovert, but I'm very introverted, was people will compliment you when they're feeling good about themselves. That's not fair. I don't feel good about myself every day. So how can I change that? I go out of my way now, good, bad, or ugly, to
Mhm.
make sure that I compliment everybody I come into contact with.
Mhm.
Is it a smile? Is it, I love your shirt. I love your shoes. Oh my God, your eyes are gorgeous.
Mhm.
You have
And it's
just,
not fake.
no,
That's you. This is your
yes,
authentic you.
this is,
Yeah.
I look for the positive in everything. And because it's me, like in my heart, I love everyone. And I don't like the fact that people are hurting.
Right.
And so when you're able, again, to give that piece of my light, they're going to be able to set a fire within themselves to then light somebody else's match.
Yeah. Because that's exactly what happens. When somebody they're in a bad mood and all of a sudden someone gives them a compliment or makes them feel good about themselves, the rest of the day the ripple effect, right?
Yes,
They
yes,
pass it they pass it forward. They're more generous, they're more polite, they're more loving, even if they don't really feel it. Just by not being cranky
right.
is helpful.
Yes,
But yeah, and I could, me being the person that I am, I have that approach as well. But a lot of people kind of take it the wrong way sometimes because they're not used to it. They're
right.
not used to like authentic love. They're like, what does she want?
What do you want from me?
What do you want from me? And you keep showing up and being yourself. And then they're going to be like, oh, that's who she is. That's right. That's who I am. Like it
I'm a
is what it
ball of
is.
sunshine. And you know what? I'm gonna light you.
Yeah.
I'm going to warm you up. I'm going to
Hmm.
provide for you until you can provide for yourself. And then we get to feed each other.
Right.
Then we get,
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yep. 100%. Well, thank
yes.
you so much for being on my channel.
Thank
I think it
you.
was helpful to hear the non woo woo version of what I do. And
Yes,
I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people out.
I
Thank you so
hope
much.
so. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.